Now that we have discussed the right to representation, it is equally important to understand the role of the representative during a workplace investigation interview. The presence of a representative is intended to support fairness, not to interfere with the investigator's ability to discover the facts. Whether the representative is a union steward, legal counsel, or another approved support person, their role is carefully balanced. They help protect the rights and well-being of the employee while allowing the investigator to conduct a meaningful and objective fact-finding process. One of the primary functions of a representative is to provide support. Workplace investigations can be stressful experiences, particularly when employees believe their job, reputation, or professional relationships may be affected. A representative can provide reassurance and help the employee remain calm and focused during the interview. This support may help the employee provide a clearer and more accurate account of events. A representative may also advise the employee regarding their rights and obligations. This may include explaining rights under a collective agreement, workplace policies, or applicable employment laws. They help ensure that the employee understands the process and that the investigation is conducted according to established procedures. Another important role is protecting procedural fairness. A representative may observe whether the interview process is being conducted appropriately and whether the employee is being treated respectfully and with dignity. They may also raise concerns about procedural issues if necessary. Representatives may normally consult privately with the employee before the interview begins and may request clarification about the process. In some circumstances, they may also provide comments or suggestions after formal questioning has concluded. However, the representative's role has clear boundaries. The purpose of the interview is for the investigator to hear directly from the employee. Therefore, the representative cannot answer questions on behalf of the employee, provide responses, or put words into the employee's account. The investigator must obtain the employee's own version of events because the individual's personal knowledge, memory, and explanation are central to the investigation. Allowing another person to answer would compromise the reliability of the information being gathered. Representatives are also not permitted to coach the employee, interrupt repeatedly, or turn the interview into an adversarial discussion. While they may provide support, they should not obstruct the questioning process or prevent the investigator from completing the interview. In many investigation models, the representative remains primarily an observer during the main questioning phase. Their role is not to control the conversation but to ensure that the employee's rights are respected while allowing the investigator to perform the fact-finding function. There may be situations where a representative requests a private discussion with the employee. Such consultations may be appropriate, particularly when the employee needs advice regarding the process or their rights. However, investigators should manage these breaks carefully to ensure they do not become opportunities to coach answers or influence the employee's testimony. The exact role of a representative may also depend on who is attending the interview. A union representative's role is often connected to the collective agreement and labor relations framework. They may help ensure that contractual requirements, notice provisions, and representation rights are respected. A legal counsel's role, where permitted, is generally focused on protecting the client's legal interests. However, counsel does not normally transform an internal workplace interview into a courtroom proceeding. The purpose remains fact-finding, and counsel should not attempt to litigate the case during the interview. A support person, such as a colleague or family member, where allowed, usually has a more limited role. Their purpose is primarily emotional support, and they are generally expected to remain silent during the interview, unless invited to participate. Confidentiality is another important responsibility for representatives. They are subject to the same expectations regarding the protection of investigative information as other participants. They should not discuss the allegations, the questions asked, or the employee's responses with other individuals in the workplace. Maintaining confidentiality is essential because unauthorized discussions can influence witnesses, create workplace rumors, and contaminate the evidence collected during the investigation. Ultimately, the investigator remains responsible for managing the interview process. The investigator should establish clear ground rules at the beginning of the meeting so that everyone understands their role. If a representative becomes disruptive, repeatedly interrupts, answers questions on behalf of the employee, or prevents the interview from progressing, The investigator may take appropriate steps. This may include reminding the representative of the expected conduct, pausing the interview, or rescheduling the session if necessary. The goal is not to exclude representation, but to preserve a fair balance. The employee has the right to support, and the investigator has the responsibility to gather reliable information. A professional investigator understands that a representative is not an obstacle to the investigation. When managed properly, a representative can strengthen the credibility of the process by helping ensure that the interview is fair, respectful, and procedurally sound.